This week on Work Break with Woj Galati, a GM with unorthodox coaching styles, personnel requirements, and a lot of trash talk in his DMs. He had a rough start, but fought back quickly and has never changed his mindset. Jacob Reznik wants the league to know that he's just built different. He's faced immense criticism following his 2020 handedness scandal, but he's remained unaffected. His team has rallied behind him even through the relocation and name change. They've fought on to become a legitimate contender, not to mention the rapidly growing chemistry that this team exudes and is not afraid to show. He's ready to make teams uncomfortable and take himself to the offseason with pride. Stay tuned here on FSPN. GM Reznik, thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah, I know it's a pleasure to have me. I'm under a contractual obligation to be here. I don't want to be here, Woj Galati, but...
Well, thank you for coming out regardless. I know we went through your wife to get you here, and she seemed fairly excited to have you, have something to do.
She wants me out of the house, and she'll do anything to have that get done. She knows that I prefer hanging out with her male friends more than with her. I don't know why she thinks that, but
I see. Well, aside from interpersonal conflict, I know that there's a lot of different criteria for the members of your team, especially at the beginning of the season. I know you had sort of a specific team in mind in terms of some of the ways that the team was named and structured, but since then there's been a lot of changes. Right. That is right. That is what I had heard from some of the members of the other media. But since then, there's been some changes. And how is the chemistry within your locker room?
Yeah, I mean the chemistry is. I guess I'll start off by answering your first question. The requirements for my team. They were left-handed white or members of, shall we say, the more professional NBA league. Teams that I enjoy. The teams that play good basketball, that have good players, that sort of thing. Now to go into kind of the locker room, what happens behind closed doors is behind closed doors. Sure, some of our players are more hung than others, but I don't want to get into that.
Right, I understand, and thank you for not getting into that. But so going back to that first original point, were there some?
Are you implying that you don't want to know how well hung Domas Sabonis is?
I think there's some things, Mr. GM, that are just better left up to the imagination in certain contexts.
Not. Well, it is a Pepsi can.
Understood. Again, going back to that sort of beginning of the season situation that you had going on, you had a rough start to the season. You started 1-2, and it looked like your team wasn't going to be much of a force. But after those first 3 weeks, your team has been on fire since. So talk to me a little bit about, what went wrong to start, but also how you righted the ship.
Oh, yeah. My guys just, whenever they stepped onto the basketball court, D'Angelo Russell started shooting with his right hand. The TV flipped it. The TV mirrored it, but he was shooting righty, forgot how to shoot lefty. He needed to go. Him, Marcus Smart, he normally shoots lefty, but nobody watches that. It looks righty. It's not. He's left-handed. But they just weren't doing it this year for me. They had to go. I traded for Bam Adebayo. I got him from Team Nifakos. And can I say, it looks like D'Angelo Russell's out for a month. Marcus Smart is been out for weeks now. I guess that you could say that I'm just playing chess while all these little pawns are playing checkers.
Right. And then I'll get back to that trade that you just mentioned, because I do have a follow-up for you on that. But going back to sort of the beginning of that answer, did you mention a couple sort of outlandish conspiracy theories about the handedness of a couple players? What was that about D'Angelo Russell being mirrored on the television? Could you repeat that one more time?
I never said that.
All right. Well, so like you said, you had that trade with the Nico with Team Nefakos, GM Nefakos, and you acquired Bam.
Yeah.
And how did he change the culture and do whatever he did to set
Now,
you
when
up to
I
win
say
these
that
games?
Domas Sabonis is hung, oh, don't get me started on Bam. If Domas has a Pepsi can, this man's got a full 2 liter.
Uh, right.
That sort of thing will just change the culture instantly. It'll turn a 1-2 team into whatever I'm on now, a 6-game win streak. And I'd like to add that you never count out a champion. And I did win fantasy basketball 2 years back, 3 years back, however many years back.
So to clarify, Mr. GM, are you directly equating your recent success with the recent acquisition of a, as you have said in the past, girthier player?
Everybody's stepping out onto the court, playing good basketball, a lot of ball movement, high assists, steals, blocks. I'd attribute it to that. Yes.
Right. So on the topic of trades, as we're here, sort of acquisitions, and I know it's a very fluid league in the sense of a lot of trades, a lot of player movement, and you also had a trade with GM Danny Podolsky, of course, brother of Josh Podolsky, who will be on the show in the near future. But the trade, I believe, was Sadiq Bey for TLC, Lalo Cabrera. And Danny is historically difficult to trade with. I know he actually hasn't been on the show yet. I don't know if he will be making an appearance, but on paper, this trade is not really something that's been working out. So what happened here?
Yeah. First of all, I don't want to talk about how hard anybody else is. I only really willing to comment on how hard I personally as a GM am.
Hmm.
So I have no further comment on that trade. I did what was best for at the time my team, and how it has or hasn't worked out since. It doesn't matter how small the penis of the acquired player turned out to be.
So you do agree that it hasn't really worked out for the team, though?
No, I just said that Timothy Luwawe Cabarro has a small penis.
I understand. So moving along, there was a pretty blockbuster trade last night. Took place between a couple of the powerhouse teams in the league. Involved Jason Tatum, probably the biggest trade we've seen yet this season. Do you have any reactions to that trade, or were you in contention? I know that I had heard some different teams were looking for Tatum, but
Yeah, so when it comes to the size of a trade, I just like to say that size doesn't matter. All trades are, in essence, the same.
very
That
powerful.
being said, I do believe that Miles Turner and Paul George is certainly an interesting return for a player who must be as well hung as a tank of gas in my car in Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm. So just to clarify one more time, Mr. GM, do you believe that there is a correlation between a player's penis size and their productivity on the court?
No. It has to do with their ball movement.
Right. So, going back to ball movement, and I know you have a very skilled team, a lot of passing, like you said, a lot of chemistry. Do you have a favorite player on your team?
Oh, well, I certainly wouldn't pick favorites, but I guess that I'd say of all the guys, first of all, I would like to add that there are currently 4 players in the entire NBA averaging 19 or more points, 9 or more rebounds, and 5 or more assists. I have 3 of them. Yanni has Giannis. We don't talk about that.
Right.
But Jokic, Domas Sabonis, and Bam Adebayo, they're all in that club, and they're truly just incredible with their ball movements. Now to kind of pick a favorite if I had to, and again, I don't play favorites.
Let's say you had to. In this instance, I'm forcing you to.
I mean,
Sure.
gun to my head.
Sure.
I would definitely pick RJ Barrett as my favorite because he makes me not feel so bad about having a very small penis. His is actually even smaller than mine. So my man will just
Right. And earlier, you said that doesn't have an effect on sort of the productivity or the chemistry in the
Coach
locker room,
Galati,
but
I was lying. Obviously, penis size means everything in fantasy basketball.
right. Well, I just wanted to clarify for some of the viewers who didn't have as much of an experience with that sort of
Oh, of course.
chemistry.
I've been GMing for years.
I
It,
understand.
it comes with.
Of course. Of course. So we have a little bit more time here, not terribly, lengthy amount of time to put it in your words, but is there anything you'd like to say to any of the other GMs out there, or is there anything that you'd like to say to any of your fans or your team or the families of your team, just while you have some of this media presence here?
Yeah, I don't really like the media. I don't really like talking to the media, but I guess if I had to say something, I was in the beginning of the season. They said that I was in the tanking category, tanking for or fading for Cade, as they say in out of Memphis, where I come from. But looks like this season in fantasy basketball, I'm kind of tanking like the Grizzlies. You know, uh, they shattered everybody's expectations last season. They made the 9th seed when they were supposed to give the Celtics a top pick, but they didn't feel like tanking, and power rankings are just I don't know. I don't know. However, I would like to add that when I saw that Mr. Weintraub released the power ranking, I was shocked. I didn't realize that it was him until he said it.
I know I was surprised he released that on under his own regard on the show, but that's why we do it. That's why we do this type of show.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if the power rankings were for penis size, putting me last easily would not, no problem. I understand. I definitely have the smallest penis of any GM, and aside from maybe RJ Barrett and Brad Wanamaker, I probably have the smallest penis of anybody in the NBA scope.
Sure. Well, Mr. Resnick, here is to hoping that one, that list does not get released, and two, that you continue your newfound success through the end of the season. I know a lot of teams didn't expect it, but a lot of fans continue to hope to see it. So thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate everything that you um, taught to us, and I hope to have you back soon. I'll be in touch with your wife.
I know you do, Oj Gulati. Everybody wants a piece of me, but I need to be with the team. A lot of the matters are pretty secretive, and I don't really feel like releasing my more personal methods to the world. I need to win the championship this year and every other year, start a dynasty. And I don't feel like being toppled from the top. So
Of course.
you're welcome.
Well, yes. Thank you for being here, GM. It's nice
I
to
know.
have you. All
Yep.
right. Goodbye.